Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree?
Have you ever thought if we could get back to the past and change the event in order to edit our wrongdoings or change our past decisions? As you see, in Season 3 episode finale, Julie and Ethan sat in the diner talking. Julie is telling Ethan all she experienced when she fainted in the ruinings, and she mentions on her traveling back through the time into the tunnels in that exact night their house was collapsed. She mentioned that she has heard of her mother, Tabitha, talking to Victor, and she believed she could save Miss Lou and Thomas by traveling back through the time. But Ethan mentioned on the Storywalker concept. What means being the Storywalker? This is Ellen the Marvelous, the movie Gangstar, and in this review breakdown I'm going to talk about Storywalker concept. Want to show you if Julie could change the past in reality by breaking down the last final sequence of From TVShow Season 3 finale through this review breakdown. First, please like and share the video, and please subscribe to my channel to support my channel's growth. And as my reviews are episodic, please turn the notification bell to be informed of all of my videos and reviews and breakdowns as I uploaded them. Okay, now let's dive deep into the heart of the matter to see what's going on with the Storywalker concept. As Ethan says, the Storywalker is someone who has this ability to travel back through the time and revisit past situations and events, but only as an observer, but she can't change anything from the past. And he insists on this fact, says if the story was being told, there is no way to change it or change the narration. You only can revisit the event in the past and observe it, but can't change anything which has happened before. By this way, based on Ethan's words, Julie can't just travel through the time to the past and change those events which have been occurred before. Therefore, the Storywalker is someone who has this ability to revisit past events and incidents by traveling back through the time only to rewatch and observe that occurred event once again. The conclusion of this decision between Julie and Ethan proves that no one can go back to the past and change something that has happened already. The story can't be changed and it's been written before. And Julie can't go back to the past and change the event to save Miss Lou or Thomas indeed. And you know, Ethan is right. You know why? Let's watch this sequence from Tenet movie by Christopher Nolan.
I've been thinking, we're their ancestors. If they destroy us, won't that destroy them?
It's bringing us to the grandfather paradox.
For what?
If you went back in time and killed your own grandfather, how could you have been born to commit the act?
What's the answer?
There's no answer. It's a paradox. But in the future, those in power clearly believe that you can kick Grandpa downstairs, gouge his eyes out, slit his throat without consequence.
Could they be right?
Doesn't matter. They believe it. So they're willing to destroy us. Can I go back to sleep now?
No, I thought of something else.
Great.
This reversing the flow of time. Doesn't us being here now mean it never happens? But we stop them.
Optimistically, I'd say that's right.
Pessimistically?
In a parallel worlds theory, we can't know the relationship between consciousness and multiple realities. Is your head hurt yet?
Yes.
Try sleep.
The grandfather paradox theory is a part of Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, which proposes that space and time are actually one unified entity called space-time, and also introduced a universal speed limit for particles of mass, setting this as the speed of light. The classic analogy for this, and the one that gives the paradox its name, is a time traveler journeying back in the time and killing their own biological grandfather before they can see their children. This means the time traveler could never have come to exist, and as a consequence can travel back in time and thus can kill their own grandfather. That means they then are born and can go back in time, hence the paradox. Exactly the same with something happened in the Back to the Future movie directed by Robert Zemeckis. Now let's back to From TV Show to the Season 3 finale episode 10 and take a deeper look into the final sequence where the creepy man in yellow enters the scene, talks to Jim and after all kills him in cold blood in front of her daughter Julie. As Tabitha leaves Jim in absolute despair, there is a flashback shot where we see Jim and Tabitha sat in the RV together at the exact time where they were in the real world and haven't crossed that freaking tree in the middle of the road.
Sometimes I remember what it was like when it wasn't like this. It was like before.
Sometimes I remember what was like when it wasn't like this. It was like before. Jim says, and we see him bending desperately in the middle of the forest by the RV. In the meanwhile, we hear of Julie screaming, calling his dad, appears from nowhere, asking Jim to leave with her and claims that she has changed the story and thinks that moment is when it's going to happen. And all of a sudden, the man in yellow appears from thin air and a conflict happens between Jim and him. He claims that a change has happened, which was not necessarily needed to be happen. Now just pay attention closely to what the man in yellow says to Jim, as his eyes are turned into deep black dark holes staring at Jim. As the man in yellow entangles Jim, he says every knowledge has a price must be paid. He claims that he was warned him already that Jim never shouldn't let Tabitha to dig that hole and cuts his throat in anger and envy. As Julie screams the hell out of her face, the show ends deep faded into titles.
Dad! Can you hear me?
Julie!
Dad!
I'm over here! Over here!
Dad, you have to run. You need to get to town right now. What
happened to you?
Please, you need to listen to me. It's not safe. I think this is when it happened.
Okay, slow down, right?
No, listen to me. I need to change the story, Dad, please.
That was a hell of a song. That Jade sure can play.
Get out of here.
No,
Run,
you don't
run,
understand.
run!
This didn't have to happen, you know.
Back up.
The knowledge comes with a cost.
Said, back the fuck
Dad,
up!
please. Dad, please.
I did try to warn you.
Get off him! Get off him!
Your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim.
It seems someone really has made a deal, which now has to pay for it. It's not me telling this, but this is the man in yellow who claims that the knowledge always comes with a price. And not definitely a prize. Stupid games always win stupid prizes. Based on everything the man in yellow says, it seems that Julie has used her time-traveling story-walking abilities to change the past, and now she has gained some new information or changed a part of the main story narration, which has expensive consequences, and the man in yellow with his cold-blooded dark eyes is here to liquidate and take balance to the narration again. As Ethan mentioned to Julie before, she is only a storywalker and only has this ability to travel back through the time to the past and only rewatch and observe the past, and he claims that as the story is being told, there is no way to change it. Because something has happened already and there is no way back. You can't change things you've done already in the past. And based on grandfather's paradox theory, you can't move back through the time to remove your father or ancestors of yours, and by this way, you only block yourself from being born or regenerated into the 3D or physical reality. And as it seems here, something Rick and Morty kind of thing must be occurred. I don't know if you all are familiar with fantastic world of Rick and Morty TV show. In that sitcom show, we have a freak scientist named Rick who is a grandfather to Morty who is a teenager, has a father named Jerry. Rick is not satisfied with her daughter's marriage, and the most of times we see Morty has done something wrong and asks his grandfather Rick for help and redo his wrongs, and Rick always using his own inventions to open a hole towards the other dimensions through the time and get access to other parallel realities and redo their wrongs. This Morty has a sister named Summer, who is always using his grandpa's help to survive. Now, what if the man in yellow is Julie's grandfather, who is chasing after Jim to kill him in this version of reality to create a balance and harmony in this damn FROM land? The man in yellow claims to Jim that he was warned him before and argues that Jim shouldn't let his wife Tabitha to dig that hole in the basement. And he's right. Jim let his wife to dig that hole into the basement and it was his ignorant. And we saw Julie enters that creepy dungeons for the first time, visits Martin and drops the rope down the chimney hole for Boy. Then she hears of uncle children, goes through and finds herself by that tunnels and hears of her mother and Victor talking each other into that tunnels. And it's the exact same night when Tabitha opened that hole into the basement and their house got collapsed. And now as Julie has found out that she has traveled back through the time, she thinks she can get back there and save Miss Lou and also Thomas. Obviously, she thinks she's able to use her story-walking ability to go back through the time and save those dead people, and it's exactly the same with what Tabitha and Jade was believing in. Tabitha talks to Jim, claims that she and Jade has been here trying to save their own daughter who was sacrificed before, and says that they have came here over and over again in different lifetimes as different characters like Miranda and Christopher, only to change their story and save their own dead daughter who now in this lifetime can be their ancestor. And this is exactly points to the fact that they have to save their own ancestor who has been their own daughter at that first time. And exactly after that very scene, we see Julie with different clothes and short hair and a scar on her face comes to Jim and says that he has changed the past. The man in yellow appears, claims to Jim that the knowledge has a price, must be paid, and as it seems, kills him only because he has let his wife to dig the hole and kills Jim. Here, there is a true fact. Based on grandfather's paradox theory, it's impossible. We consider on Ethan as the man in yellow who has come from the future to kill his own father, because by this way he is removing his own father from a past event which has occurred before. And by killing Jim, he only removes Matthew's family from the origin, and by killing his father, he is denying his own identity and can be ever born to be exist to do such a harsh act in the future. In my next review, I'm going to discuss on all colors and setups in mise-en-scène to show you how colors work as a sign through the story narration, and will connect all clues and facts through the color composition. But here, I'm going to mention unreliable fact to show you why Jim should be removed like that. Now let's get back to the pilot episode, to that very scene where we meet Chrissy and Kenny at clinic. As we saw, Kenny was playing chess with his father, and his father was always the one who was the winner. His father was claiming that he was using chess as an international language to communicate others. Now, if we discuss on a chess game as a main team dominant on all events and incidents in FROM land, and if we consider on each residence as a chess piece, we can consider on residences as white pieces and monsters as black pieces. In a chess game, when you lose a soldier or a piece, if you can get one of your soldiers to the end of your component ground, you have this award option to re-enter one of your pieces into the playground. We saw monsters defeated Fromlanders by manipulating their minds and Fatima's pregnancy to get Smiley back. Boyd was standing backward, watching Smiley's reducing from his own generation. In complete shock, and Smiley was smiling even more deep than before. By the way, it was all his own fault, as he was transferring those worms via his own blood to his, as he said, "My blood is your blood now."
My blood is your blood now, motherfucker.
And he unconsciously stampeded him as a part of the family. Smiley the monster as a part of his own family, his blood family. By this way, it was not a ritual, but become a ritual kind of thing. Smiley was dead and removed, but had a rebirth and came back stronger than ever. And this is exactly like a chess game, and it seems the monsters were able to finish the game and conquer the opposing team's territory. And as we all know, Fromland has this ability to control the population. Exactly when someone removes, another one arrives, and vice versa. Now Smiley Monster, who was killed and removed by Boyd, has came back to life and to the playground as a monster who has the same blood with Boyd. He has came back from a human womb, from Fatima, Boyd's daughter-in-law, and Alice's bride. Again, there must be a balance created in population, and as monsters have the control back, and as they have been upgraded to a new version of them in a more humanistic form, and as a chess piece have came back to the playground, they have to remove a piece from the opposing team losers, who will be Jim. Poor Jim. I believe all Fromlanders have been manipulated through Monster's storyline, and nothing seems to be real. It's just a dirty freaking game which repeats over and over again. Same old song, same old story. And now Jim's death is happening exactly the same with Toby's death in very pilot episode, and as we see, Man in Yellow cuts his throat as a sacrifice, exactly the same with what Sarah did to Toby as she was listening to those voices and obeying them. Julie claims that she has changed the past. What if only Kill the Boy has turned into Kill the Father? And what if she has made a deal with those monsters to save Thomas and also Miss Lou? And finally, what if returning Miss Lou to Fromland is this kimono entity we are familiar with? If someone's dead is dead, let the past be in the past, because you don't know who you're bringing back to life from death. Everything happened has happened, and there is no way to go back to the past and get someone's back to life. Rest assured, he will be a monster as Smiley. You can't only digging up the past and bring more conflicts back to the present and cause troubles for the future. And repeating past mistakes always ends to the downfall. Jim only been killed to create a balance in Fromland playground, exactly as a chess game. In my next review, I will explain everything about colors, forms, and symbols, and setup, and also mise-en-scène in From TV Show to show you how it works and how we can define the identity of the Man in Yellow through the yellow color placement based on all shots and scenes. Please like the video if you enjoyed my review, and let me know in the comments what do you think of this theory. Share the video and subscribe to my channel to support my channel's growth, and don't forget to push the notification bell to be informed of all of my videos and reviews as I uploaded them. For now, love and light in peace.